that
Is
I have
that the
one.
same thing, by the way, when you say spirit
No, I
guides?
don't.
Are they the same thing as angels, or?
Yes, it's just another term that's used
Okay,
for them. So yes, I do believe that. I also believe that there are different levels. There's negative entities and positive entities. That said, I do believe that a lot of ghosts are dead people. You know, when you look at, and you spoke about the evidence, when you look at voices, electronic voice phenomenon, you look at film, you can look at photographs, and these are photographs of people I've seen many, many times. People that was Uncle Bob or Brother Joe. And you can argue that maybe that was Satan or some demon portraying themselves, but I really think that the most likely answer is we survive death, and I firmly believe that. Now, I know that you concur with Brother Chris with respect to that we end up in the grave afterward. Yeah. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe that it's an immediate ascension, that you are still alive.
So you don't believe in, let's say, reincarnation, where your body...
I do believe in reincarnation.
Okay.
Yes.
So if your soul leaves your body at death, when you said an immediate ascension, then what did you mean?
Well, what I mean by that is there's twofold. Again, you could ascend, depending on your particular thought process at the time. You could rise. You've heard many, many times people talking about going into the light. You know, you're rising up to a particular level, basically. Other people choose, for whatever reason, to remain on Earth. Maybe they feel there's something that was undone. Maybe they feel that they have children here that they still have to watch over. Perhaps there was a little angst or some unsolved riddle or mystery, for example, a death that was a murder, and they feel that they should be here to avenge that. There's other times that some are simply lost souls. Other times there are circumstances where somebody's afraid. They're afraid to ascend. They've been taught, they've been raised, for example, like Christian, and Christianity's a lot about sin and guilt and fear. And if you feel that, if you were raised to like Brother Chris, and you feel that you have not led a very benevolent life, you might be afraid to face your Maker. So you might choose just to hang around Earth. Okay. So that's answer your question. Do I believe? Yes, I believe that they are. I believe in both. I believe that there are angels. I believe that there are lower level entities, if you wish to call them demons. And I also believe that there are a lot of the spirits that reside on Earth are ghosts, are relatives, or the spirits of dead, deceased people.
Okay, well, that's a good place to take a break then. Earlier this afternoon, we went out to Northgate Square and we asked people the question, do you believe in ghosts? And have you ever had any kind of ghostly experiences or know someone who has? Take a look at what they said.
I believe, I guess there's, well, and I've read some books on ESP phenomenon and stuff like that, parapsychology. I find it's pretty interesting, but I'm kind of open-minded on the subject, I guess. But I guess I only could say I'll believe it when I see it.
So you've never seen it, a ghost?
No, I can't say I've seen, no, but I've heard stories, all kind of stories, and I mean, I don't know if I could believe them either, but I'm one of those skeptical people. I got to believe it to see it, you know?
Yeah, I believe in ghosts and angels and all that.
Okay.
Never really seen one, but felt them.
You have, really? What did you feel?
Well, just you feel someone there, or you feel goosebumps, I guess.
I wouldn't know if they're experiences. I have very, very vivid dreams of my relatives that have passed on. Okay. And I believe it is their way of contacting and trying to tell me things.
What kind of messages have you received?
Not really messages, just when I wake up, I feel good inside. Okay. As if they've taken the tension away, and even though I've had 2 strokes, they seem to have relieved all the pressure of that.
Basically, like, I don't believe I've seen a ghost. I don't rule out the fact that there aren't any, like, of course. I've known people that have said they've seen ghosts, but other than that, like, they haven't really had too much proof or anything like that.
Absolutely, I believe in supernatural.
Supernatural? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of things in the world you can't explain. Why not believe in ghosts?
Have you ever seen one, or?
I've had some experiences that were unexplained, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can you describe them?
When I was a child, I had a really strange feeling that there's a presence in the house. My father felt the same way. He came around, and we all got a pretty good spook out of it, so I believe in ghosts strongly.
I could be wrong, but I guess, I don't know, just lack of evidence, or it's not something I think about constantly, but could be, like, I'm not saying I'm right.
Welcome back to Beyond Belief. If you're just joining us, we're talking about ghosts, Bible prophecy, and the rapture. The phone lines are now open. Please give us a call at 472-9868 or 472-4959, and please remember to use the 705 area code, or you can always email us at beyondbelief@cogeco.com. Now, before we went to that break, John, we were talking, you were giving us some experiences that you've had with ghosts, and you have another one you'd like to share as well.
Yeah, there is. Actually, I could share my wife's, if that's
Sure,
okay.
sure.
We were alluding to the fact that there is, I don't know if the mall wants me to mention that, but there is a ghost at Northgate Mall.
Really?
And it used to be, prior to, of course, being a mall, it was a strip plaza.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
And there was a jewelry store there. And that particular jewelry store, the proprietor was a lady named Elizabeth. And it's known by certain people in the mall that she still resides in the mall. And of course, one evening, my wife, who works graveyard at the mall, or in Walmart.
No pun intended.
Yes, exactly. Who works nights at the mall, happened to be working one evening at about 3 o'clock in the morning, where they keep the bikes in the hallway. Mm-hmm. And
where we just filmed that clip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she looked out. She said she felt that uneasy feeling, and this is not a woman who is of a spiritual bent, or she's a very, very grounded individual. And anyway, she got that feeling. It's about 3 in the morning. She looked out right into the hallway where the main foyer, and looked and saw Elizabeth, this lady standing there. She could see, of course, her hair. She could see the blouse that she was wearing, and as it came down, it tapered, and around the torso, it faded away to nothing. Well, of course, my wife said to herself at the time, she told me later that she said, "I am not seeing this," and she said, "Yes, I am." And ran back into the Walmart store. Never worked out there again after that.
Really?
That was her one and only time that, or not the only one and only time, but the last time that she worked out there. And other people have seen this particular one. There's a gentleman that works at the store where that jewelry store was.
Okay.
And he told me once, he's an older gentleman, probably mid-50s, and he told me, "John," he said, "you know what, I thought it was a load of baloney." Until one night I was closing the store and bringing the gates closed, and one of the maintenance people said, "There's a lady in your store still." And as he opened up the gates, that lady vanished. And
Wow.
he told me, John, after that, I believed. And I have no doubt he did after seeing that.
Does everyone who sees Elizabeth, is she always wearing the same clothes?
Yes. Yeah. They don't tell her. The store that she is seen in most don't tell the staff. I won't name the store, but they won't. They don't tell the staff that she's there, because they don't want to frighten the staff. But if the staff experiences her, then they experience her.
And did you say this is supposedly a woman who used to work in that store, and has this been verified that people...
Yeah, she used to own the store. Not the store that's there now. She owned a store that was there
when
prior.
it was a strip plaza.
Exactly.
And we know for a fact that she existed and that she's now deceased.
Yes, we do. We know quite a bit about her, actually. We know her husband was sadly an abusive man, which could have something to do with the fact that you asked why people hang around.
Yeah.
There could be some reason why she's still hanging around, because he was a very physically abusive and verbally abusive man. People knew her. They knew where she lived across the street.
Or did you develop it through meditation, or?
I do meditate on a regular basis. My gift, if I was to call it that, is with spirit guides more so than ghosts. There's other people that I work with have much more in tune with ghosts than I am. That's more of a personal interest. My gift, as I say, per se, would be probably more with spirit guides, which I'm able to communicate with. I work with a variety of different people in that capacity who ask me to channel for them. And they have different questions and different concerns, and so I do a meditation and get answers for them, which are surprisingly, for even me, quite accurate in a lot of cases.
Oh. Okay, I also have a question for Chris.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Chris, do you see the rapture as a physical experience, or is it more like a transfer in dimensions?
No, I believe it's a physical phenomenon. I believe when Christ comes back for the millennium, we actually go to heaven.
Okay. So do you believe we're living in the last days?
Without question. It's guys like Harold Camping, you know, like puts the whole doubt on the whole situation and makes, you know, like too many people think it's a joke.
Right, but there's a lot of things that are lining up.
There's way too many things. You know, like from Nibiru coming in to, you know, like the weather to, like, look at what, you know, like the States going on in the States. Like, if you believe in the one world government coming, the States has to go. Look at what's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a news report out from China itself, from, I forget the name of the news company. It was a major one, that Friday they missed their debt payment.
Right.
Like, we are that close.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for calling.
No problem.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, very interesting. We have about another a little less than 10 minutes before we go to another the break. You want to tell us one more story, and then we're going to get into a little Bible prophecy.
Sure, I can tell you another story.
Yeah, tell us one more.
An interesting one. You talk about, again, it kind of alludes to the fact that sometimes, you know, you think these, as Chris was saying, that and he's not alone. Some people think that it's demons or negative entities that are doing this. And I'll give you an example of a friend of mine who experienced something a couple years ago. And what it was he had something on the stove. Him and his wife had something, and I've spoken to her about it as well. And they had something on the stove. They had some, I believe it was stew or soup. And inadvertently, they fell asleep with that on the stove. Well, they had experienced hauntings in this particular. Now, I don't mean hauntings in a negative way. I mean that there was a spirit, there was a ghost in the home. When they woke up early in the morning, they went into the kitchen, and the pot was burned, but the stove was off, and the ladle, which was a wooden ladle, was removed and put over on the other side of the counter. Somebody physically removed that ladle. It was burned, but it was moved. So somebody, you talk about a negative entity, that wasn't something negative that was saving these people's lives.
Yeah, protected them from the
exactly.
But even the negative entities don't believe they're negative. Remembering what Lucifer tried to do, raise them above God.
Well, again, here's where you're getting into interpretations that are more complex and require a more complexity to believe in. I always revert to the simplest, and the simplest is usually the truth. And in this case, it was just that lady that happened to reside in that particular home at one time was protecting her home too, where she resided at one time. And so, I mean, when you come to different ghosts and spirits and various things, people will have all kinds of explanations. Most often, if you come up with various explanations like that, Chris, I find it's somebody who's really trying to find something to fit their agenda, trying to fit their beliefs, rather than just accepting the simplest explanation.
Yeah, let me ask you that, Chris. Why not just, without getting too much into the immortal soul and all that idea, but